everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know who it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast, brought to you by MSOTT Rocks or Rock and Metal Thrive. Wishing you guys a very happy Tuesday because it is November 10th and we've got one of the most raw, emotional, in-depth episodes that we've ever had. So Joey from the band Ovtlier is on the show today, and we talk about their newest song that has been released called Who We Are, so please go check it out. And we go so deep into conversation about personal accountability, personal happiness, personal freedoms, just everything that like an in-depth conversation comes to, where you hear our opinions, our ideas on certain things, but there's so much context given behind it, where it's just, we really talk about everything with that deep conversation that I think you're really going to enjoy. One thing you will notice is that the setting changes like halfway through, where it's, or early on, where all of a sudden it's like, I'm wearing a Nice Nine Kill shirt, he's in a certain room, and all of a sudden the next time you see, it's like, wait, why is Kevin wearing a different Nice Nine Kill shirt? Why are they in a lighter room? Well, we filmed this over 2 days, and we want to make sure we gave you the best possible quality. So please welcome Joey from the band Ovtlier for one of the most incredible podcasts, most incredible conversations I've ever had, where I did not know this guy at all, but it feels like I've known him for years now. So are you ready? Please be, because let's go! Yeah! Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast, I saw this band like one of my posts right before we did this podcast. I'm like, let me check them out. Let's see what's going on. And holy shit, is their sound absolutely incredible. So I thought, you know what? Let's try and get them on the podcast. Let's try and get them out to you guys as well and see what happens. And bing, bang, boom, a couple of days later, here we are. So please welcome from the band Ovtlier, Joey. So Joey, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on, man. This is awesome, especially after I got to listen to music. I was just like, yeah, we definitely have to get these guys on. Are you kidding me?
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. So one thing I always like to do to start out this podcast, just to kind of just see where it goes, is I want you to introduce yourself like fully. So I want to know what your name is, what you do in the band, what your band is. And then this is going to sound like that classic, like intro to high school, like college welcome week kind of thing. A little fun fact about yourself. But I always want to hear the wackiest thing you possibly can think of, because I've heard some crazy things. I've heard of people being superstars on YouTube before PewDiePie was a thing. So the biggest YouTuber in Sweden. People have given me their Tinder bios, which has been absolutely hilarious. So whatever you can think of, go for it, man.
Okay, so full name, Joey Arena. I guess write and I sing for Ovtlier. I started the band in 2015. I wrote and recorded the EP that dropped, What Doesn't Kill You, with producer Evan McKeever, and I pieced the members in after the record was done, really. So fun fact about me. Fun fact.
Putting you on the spot right here.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's, it's so funny because fun fact. I don't know. I'm going to make myself sound lame. I have no idea. I was not. Oh, actually, you know what? I was a 2012 Billboard artist. I was in a band called Youngbloods that was, we signed to a subsidiary of Sony, completely got, taken advantage of by the major label and all that type of stuff. But we had some bragging right that came out of it. Like I said, we were a Billboard artist. We did really well and things of that nature. I guess that's a fun fact of some credential, but I am not a former YouTube star or anything like that. So, but.
Yeah, but again, you've had a band before, even starting Ovtlier, and it was a Billboard you were a Billboard artist on that point, so that definitely does give you some kind of like street cred in a way. But unfortunately, yeah, the record companies, like you said, unfortunately did end up taking advantage of that, and that's one thing I've talked about on the podcast with a couple of other people as well, with just kind of how, especially with this pandemic that's going on right now, how these different record deals are going to change after this due to the fact of what's all happened this year. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. It's all going to take one of the big boys to have to restructure their record deal completely and then just see how everyone else follows along suit with that. It's kind of like once the big mover moves first, everyone else is going to follow suit.
You're 100% correct, man. And so we just recently signed with Zoid Entertainment, and we took a deal. They're it's all through In Grooves and Universal. So we took another special deal with major distribution, but we definitely, after negotiating for 3 months, we got the deal that we wanted, and we modernized things to fit the modern day way of life in the industry now. So, and we turned down the typical standard contracts that were presented, and I just felt this band is worth more. And I'm not going to make the same mistake like I've done a few times over with signing, previous shit deals. And that's it. And I try to keep it real and raw with every interview too, because I think the biggest thing is a lot of musicians do not, they want to give that facade that, that whole fake it till you make it thing. And I am so opposite of that. I'd rather get nitty gritty, let people understand the industry, because I think people will kind of understand that. Yeah. So the biggest thing is I try to keep it real and raw with everybody in interviews, because, there's not a lot of money to be made. And I think people still think that artists make a lot of money and stuff like that. And it costs thousands to make, from singles to records and all of that. And the most just streaming a song or sharing a post really goes a long way now. And so support in all forms is huge, and people should understand what the industry is like now because of it. So.
Oh, I totally have to agree with you as well. And I like the fact that you like to keep it raw and just completely real during these interviews, because it does give off that sense of authenticity to you if you're going to be completely truthful on it. And one thing I have seen, especially over the course of doing this whole entire podcast, doing this whole entire project as well, has been kind of a realization of how much needs to go into these bands when it comes to just making singles or making an album. One band in particular that I've been working with for about probably over a year and a half right now, with the guys from Kingdom Collapse. They're working on their debut album right now, and they put together like an Indiegogo fan, just kind of like a crowdsourcing thing, because they're an independent band and they want to get their first album out there, and they're trying to get, especially with COVID going on right now, they can't really play live shows, so they need to make money somehow. So they're asking for donations to help produce their first album, to maybe get a music video going in, get this stuff distributed. So it's all on that, and it's been something where I've seen the fans and like people have been putting money in there as well. I'm actually one of them as well, because I'm like, I love their sound. So I'm like, and I want to help support all these bands, especially during this time, and just to make sure that once live music is able to come back, everyone's able to come back and actually, play live, so we can all get to that moment where we're back to feeling like a family again. We're feeling like a community again, instead of everyone kind of spread apart now, everyone kind of isolated in their homes. And with the political scene in America right now, everyone feels like divided. It's like, can we just come together and find that common thing where it's just like, we all just love rock music and love metal. So can we just all enjoy that and just go to a show and just all the inhibitions go to the wind? And I just end up getting hit in the face in a mosh pit and start bleeding. I love it. Who cares?
Dude, I want to capitalize on that real quick. Like you were just saying, it's so divided. My biggest thing is, because I like making this clear in every interview. I am neither left nor right. I am not up or down. Nobody knows where to place me. And it's just because I don't believe you should always pick sides. It's really not that cut and dry. You know what I'm saying? And people need to look more at policies of an individual before they go getting emotionally bent on what it is, because they're all fucking corrupt salespeople. I don't care what color or side you are. And people need to get their fucking heads out of their ass and see things from a bigger, dude, they should have paid attention in economics and history and global studies and social studies and all that shit, man. It was my favorite subject. And when you learn and pay attention and how things go, everything goes through a chain of command. And I'm not denying there are problems in government for sure, but dude, you gotta unfortunately, with something like this, you can't just cut the head off the snake and expect it to die. Like, the whole thing is you gotta kill the whole fucking snake, man. So, and there's just so much more into it, but people are so emotional and they get latched on to well, he didn't say it this way and he stutters and he's this and he's that. And it's like, fuck, man, there's so much more to it. It's not about this shit, man. And music, people are starting to politicize bands that want to play shows and bands that don't want to play shows. Everything's becoming politicized, and it's so fucked now, and it should not be that way. What we talk about in this country, how mental health is such a big deal, right? How many people rely on music for their mental health, going to shows for their mental health? How many musicians I know that are so fucking depressed because their job is completely gone now, or stage crews or sound guys and all this shit, man. They're having to restructure their lives and their norm because of everything now. And they're fucking depressed. They're on drugs. I want to know how many people have overdosed. That's what I want to fucking know. You know what I'm saying? I want to know how many people had to get, checked in. I know a couple people that actually have checked in to some, to some, I'm gonna use the wrong terminology here, but they just needed to be evaluated. You know what I'm saying? Their mental health wasn't good, and that's the shit that we talk about. It's a big deal, and that everybody cares. But where's the care for that shit? So,
but then it's like it's like we all talk about it, we all care about, but then when push comes to shove, and it's like, okay, this is really becoming a thing. It's kind of pushed back into the like background of everything because everyone's focusing on something completely different. And it's just kind of like, again, everyone's kind of on, like, it's like they're trying to make you pick one side or make you pick the other side when
dude,
just
yeah.
really look into it for yourself. Think for yourself when you're talking about like taking a look at studying and certain things. Like when you brought up economics, I did get a smile on my face in that one because that's actually what I went to school for.
That's great, man. That's awesome.
So it's like when it comes to me, it's like I'll talk to people that are really fully on one side, fully on the other side, and I can talk with both of them just fine because like what I always think of is I understand exactly where you're trying to come from. I try to understand what the context is behind your opinion, and when it comes to people that are talking about stuff, I try and understand the context behind what they're saying. However, I'm not going to just pick one or the other because this guy or this guy or this woman or this woman. No, I'm not going to try and pick sides. I'm Democrat, Republican. I just want the best person in there for the job so that we can all be honestly in a better position.
Go.
That's what we
need. There you go, man.
It's like, yeah, like you said, like kind of like, yeah, we're taking a look at musicians right now as well. It's just, I'm very curious to see exactly that as well. Like how much is this affecting us really, like, especially with mental health as well, because for someone like myself, I love going to shows. I went to so many last year. I had so many slated to go on this year from a fan's perspective as well. And it's just not being able to go to those shows. It has really taken a little bit of a toll as well due to the fact that I'm just like sitting here thinking, man, it's just like there's points in time where even right now, for the past couple of days, like I've been kind of stressing out over a bunch of things. I've been kind of feeling it, like a couple of chest pains here and there from just stress. And it's like, you got to be kidding me. Like, what's the one thing that could really get rid of this chest pain? I'm like, honestly, just get me to a live show, put me in a mosh pit, give me like an hour and a half, everything will be gone. Like all that stress, gone.
Right. I feel you, man. Yeah. See, that's the other thing is like, we're playing a show October 30th in Richmond, Virginia, and we were asked to play. It's not like we didn't seek it out, and all the bands on there were friends with some of the bands, and we're excited to play it. And a couple other friends that I know that their bands have played shows, they've been kind of getting some shit from people, and to be honest, man, what are we forgetting? Free will? Are we forgetting that some people are willing to go to shows? And I'm not saying I'm gonna hug up and make out with anybody. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, but we want to play show. We want to be on stage. And if people are willing to go, then we're willing to perform. And that's just as simple as that. And if nobody feels comfortable, I'm not going to sell them on going. I don't want you to go if you don't feel comfortable. And that's that point of being in the fucking middle space between everything. You don't need to be this or that. It's not about that, man. What happened to, like, there's gray area in life, and people forget that's sometimes you got to just step into it a little bit.
And not only that, but there are people that are just willingly going to bars every single weekend.
Dude,
seen it.
Fucking Walmart. Walmart's been packed, man. I don't want to hear this shit, man. There's so much hypocrisy across the board with all of it. It's so stupid. And oh God, I can't, man. I just can't. I hate hypocrisy, bro.
Neither can I. Cause it's like, okay, I'm looking at like people that I know that are like, I'm looking at their any social media posts, Snapchat especially. It's like, yeah, they're out at the bars every single night, and it's just like, wait a minute, hold up. But you're telling me that it's okay to just pack these bars in and pack everything else and pack Walmart and pack a bunch of these stores, but I can't go and see a concert even because they're probably like you said, you're not going to sell anybody on going to see this show. You're going to tell people if you want to play the show, if you're going to be invited to it, yeah, you're going to go play it. But you're going to tell people about it. You're not going to force people to try and go. You're not going to like try and push the issue. If you want to come to it, go for it. Because since this whole entire pandemic started, I've been to 2 smaller shows. One up in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and one up in the middle of, I don't even know where in Wisconsin, honestly. And I got to see, for the Green Bay one, I got to see the girls at GFM. And then when I was in middle of nowhere, Wisconsin, was a band called Relent. And then The Protest and Seventh Day Slumber. And I was talking with the bands as well. And like you said, some of these bands are getting a lot of crap online and getting a lot of shit from other people and even other artists as well that are just like, don't want them playing shows because I don't know why. It's just like, can we just, if you don't want to, that's fine. If they want to, that's fine too. Let's just let everyone, let's just stand everyone's business and let them do what they want.
Right? This is America, right? What the hell? Are we forgetting that shit? Like, we're slowly turning it. God, man. Free will, dude. Live how you want. Let other people live. Live and let live, man. That's how I see it, all this shit. Like, if it doesn't affect me, like, dude, I don't care. Like, it doesn't affect me. I don't need to go if I don't want to go do something. Like, so
Yeah, it's like if there's certain things I don't want to go out and do because there's a lot of people out there. Yeah, I'm not gonna go and do it. But if there's certain things I want to go and do, I'm gonna want to go and do them. And like again, the biggest thing for me is live shows right now. Like I really want to see some live music like crazy. I want to get into a mosh pit. I don't care if I have to wear a mask or anything. I just want to smash into somebody,
Right.
potentially get a huge cut up on my eye again, and I'll love every second of it. I won't care. It'll just be that. It'll be that feeling of just like that stress relief, that euphoria, just that happiness, that pure happiness that comes in from a lot of people who connect so much with music and how much positivity it does for their mental health.
Right there, man. Right there. That's what it's about. That's exactly what it's about. It's
Oh,
a win for the artist, and it's a win for the fan, and that's what it's about. And if people are ready to come out later, then fine. That's what it is. That's their choice. That's their whatever they want to do, whatever makes them comfortable. That's what it's about. So you can't force people to do anything or go anywhere. And I think people need to settle the fuck down and worry about themselves, and that's it. I think people need to be mindful of their germs. This is kind of what it has taught us. People should have been mindful of their germs a long fucking time ago. So like, if you've been out in a public area, kind of just be somewhat distant from like people that have weakened immune systems or certain things like that. The elderly, like do shit like that. It also depends on the state. Some states are doing good. I mean, dude, I'm in New York, bro. Like, I mean, and to be honest, I'm in upstate New York, not New York City. And we
yeah.
get mixed into that shit a lot. So New York City is horrible. And, I'm not going to even get into that bullshit, but, our cases are significantly less, not downplaying it by any means, but they're significantly less. But we get lump sum into it all. So, and then I go to Ohio, they don't give a fuck, man. They're doing their thing. And then I go down to Florida and they're acting completely normal. And then there was like that talk about, oh, Florida's gonna boom now with all these cases. I got family that are nurses and like nuclear scientists that work in the hospitals and like radiologists, like family, dude. And they're like, dude, hospitals are getting kickbacks. Like, dude, this is openly discussed, man. But that's the thing, though. People don't want to see it. They're like, oh, grab your tinfoil hat. Yeah, you're that simple minded. You think that like this is like that simple? Come on, man. There's so much more to all this shit. That's why I say don't pick a side. There's so much more to all this shit.
Yeah.
And it's okay to just not know. Like it's simple as that. I don't fucking know. I'm not gonna pretend I do, but I'm not gonna sit here and think it's that fucking simple either.
Yeah, I totally understand with that as well. And one thing that I've kind of looked at, and I kind of want to bring this up as well, because I was talking with my parents today actually about this, because it's something that kind of piqued my interest with everything. I'm going to use the NFL as the example, because there have been so many times already this year where all of a sudden it's like they've closed down the practice facilities because someone tested positive. How many times have they gone back retested and it's been a false positive? Now, my question is,
shit.
I know my question is when it comes to like, especially here in Wisconsin right now, because the cases right now, like every single day, it's like they just keep going up and up and up at this point that we're recording this podcast. My question is again, it's something that I think is this virus real? Yeah, I'm not discrediting that at all. What I'm trying to ask about is like, okay, if I keep seeing this stuff in the NFL where all of a sudden it's like, okay, this player gets tested one day, it comes positive, they get tested the next day, it comes negative, they get tested the day after that, it comes negative, so there's a false positive there. What's to say that there's not a lot of these positive cases that are that false positive as well? It's just a question of basically not questioning the virus, but it's a questioning like how legit is the data that we're getting.
Well, dude, so everything's new, right? This virus is new. So how like you said, how exact, how precise is the equipment? You got to think that means the equipment is new. Or if it's been out for a long time, then the equipment's been out for a long time too. And that's where conspiracies start popping in, right? So, well, you got to give that there's going to be, dude, it picks up the common cold, man. Everybody's had a fucking common cold. A friend of mine she missed her test, right? Her appointment. And she got, what do you call it? She got a positive and in the mail, and she never even had taken it.
I'll say that's not the only time I've heard this story though. That's something it's just getting down to a point where it's just everyone just kind of just it's become so politicized where it's just like if you're on one side, if you're forced on one side of the political spectrum, you're going after believing one whole thing. If you're on the other side, people are believing one whole thing. And it's just like, can we just actually take a look at this more objectively and just see, instead of just trying to force yourselves one way or the other based on a political
That's what I'm saying, man. It does not need to be politicized, dude. Just again, there's a gray area. There's some sketchy shit going on with some spots, and there's some genuine shit going on, and that's it, man. Just like there's good people and bad people, man. There's light and dark. There's positive and negative. It doesn't matter. That shit exists in the world, no matter if you're a spiritual person or not. It doesn't matter if dude, you can just be a normal person. You ever have an encounter with a shitty person? There's just bad people in the world. So there's bad things that happen too.
Yeah, and it's just something where it's just, again, like kind of bringing this back around to the whole entire music thing. It's just what this whole entire thing is taken from us is, especially from the people that in the music industry, from yourselves, from bands, from people, the crews, from the independent venues, basically and from the fans as well. It's just been that kind of that outlet of creativity, that outlet of expression, that outlet of emotion that people get with how much mental health is connected to music. When I went through the worst period of possible in my life, like absolutely horrible, one thing that kept me going through it was music. I kept listening to, like, especially through everything I went through, I didn't want to listen to my favorite band again, so I had to figure out how to take that back. And after seeing them live one time, that was it. And all of a sudden I went from like not really want to listen to Rise Against that much, all of a sudden, boom, I don't care what happens, everything focused on it is positive. Listen to Skill, listen to 30 Seconds to Mars, and that just kind of just kept me going throughout the whole entire process of it. And it's just listening to the song, just constantly just feeling that positivity, just the increase in that mental health, just that positive feeling of it. It was incredible. And especially now with no live shows, it's hard to get that back, just because live shows are just that like extra boost. They're the biggest thing possible, because everyone there is connecting with the artist in a certain way, in a completely different way than person. I'm connecting with the artist in a completely different way than the person next to me is. The only thing that's the same is we're connecting with the artist in a positive light, and that's enough to create a community, enough to create a family around it. And when you're at shows, no one gives a shit who you are. No one gives a shit what you do. Everyone, all that cares is we're here because we want to see this band. We want to have a good time. And that's that. Hey everyone, a little disclaimer. Joey's connection the first time we shot this was a little bit spotty, so we decided to pick it up again the next day, and we're just going to say, here you go. We're getting right back into it. Well, everybody, that little break that felt for us was like a little bit over a day. For you guys, that was like a second or two. But picking it back up here with Joey from Ovtlier. Want to start out with this, where we were talking yesterday about a lot of stuff with mental health with musicians as well, especially going on right now. I actually ended up having a live stream with a bunch of our fans last night, and I brought that up as a topic because I was curious to see what they would say, because a lot of them are very big advocates on mental health, but none of them had really taken the time to really think or understand what musicians might be going through at this time, because as much as we see that as music as fans, where it comes to how much we tied into our mental health as well, can you imagine how everyone else that really focuses in and that's their livelihood is doing at this time? So it just kind of gave a whole new perspective to a whole bunch of stuff that's going on right now. Mm-hmm. So it was pretty interesting to see kind of some people just had that like, oh shit moment at that same time as well.
Yeah, it's something that I think a lot of people, because everybody right now, there's so much going on. It's hard to think about other people, even though we're trying to think about other people at the same time. It's a very, we can multitask with these situations, but I think we kind of forget how to with some of it. But yeah, there's pros and cons to, like, again, like we were saying yesterday, there's good and bad, there's pros and cons. And it's the same thing with all of this. Like, obviously we got to protect those that are vulnerable. But at the same time, though, life must go on. It's going to go on. It has to go on. It cannot be. This is not a norm. This cannot be a norm. This is not really a quality of living for some. So,
I mean, it's not a quality of living for pretty much anybody, kind of just being like stuck inside and kind of restricted with what you can do because of a virus. And again, we're not discounting the fact that it's a real thing, but what we're trying to say is kind of let people have the freedom to choose what they do and what they don't do, and let's take the virus seriously, but also play it safe at the same time as well. But again, let them do what they want to do, because we're people. We should be free to make our own choices.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
So then hopefully we can get to a point where all of a sudden we get, back to live shows and everyone's able to get back and just be like, yeah, let's go do this. Woo!
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to get back on stage. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and especially with that new single that I know that you guys are releasing fully through your new promotion as well, but you guys had the music video out for Who We Are since July as well. So, I mean, I took a deep dive into the song to really try and figure out what it was. And the first thing I wanted to talk about that is take a look at the meaning of the song as well, because if what I saw from it was right, was the meaning was about accepting the individuality of ourselves and others, and it's about understanding that trauma, especially from like a childhood perspective, can play a vital role in making us who we are today. So I think that was straight from like the promo thing that was sent to me. So I hope I got that right.
Yep. No, that's very good, man. Actually, I just gave out another quote today because the single does drop tomorrow. But I did give a quote, and it was saying very much of that. I kind of got a little bit more in depth with it. Yeah, dude, like honestly, like I mean, I'm gonna be like we were saying yesterday about being real, raw, and open, right? About how some musicians want to have this whole like fake it till you make it thing and act like they live this big bougie life when, they're, you know, I don't know, but they're not living that. Let's just put it that way. So, and I'd rather give people the raw reality of things and let them know that, I want to give people a sense of hope through my music and overcoming and know the real raw struggles and, all of that. And I have a lot of childhood trauma that I'd kind of swept under the rug from a very young age. And because I was just like, oh, be a man, tough it out, and that's it. And life goes on. This is the hand that I'm dealt. And people got it worse, right? Well, they do have it worse. But because I never tended to my traumas growing up, it has affected a lot of my relationships with people, friendships, and like romantic relationships. And not in a really negative or abusive or controlling or anything you would think, but more or less like I'm kind of just like I keep a guard up towards everybody. I don't let people in, and I've dated a lot of great women that wanted to like kind of be closer to me like emotionally, and unfortunately, I have this like fear of like letting somebody in too close because oh shit, like this has happened to me in my past, so what's to stop a stranger from doing it to me? If a biological parent could do that to me, type of thing. And I could dive into that like later on with like press releases and all that other stuff once I feel more comfortable to talk about it. But I did go back to therapy to finally start like kind of rewiring the way my brain is and the way I perceive certain things like that, because I do have a lot of people that care about me, and it's just kind of like I want to be able to accept their love more or less versus just kind of like, oh, thanks, man, and just mosey on and kind of do my, be my own person, do my own thing. So
I'll say that's a very fair thing to have happen, where it's just you've gone through so much stuff and in childhood, and all of a sudden when you're meeting different people and they kind of want to get let into your life and just get really further understand what's going on, but you kind of just keep pushing away due to a fear of you don't want what happened to you in the past to happen again. That's something I can totally relate to as well. So that's why I think I feel a bigger connection to the song, due to the fact that and like again, when I've talked about this period of time, like halfway, like second half of 2017, early 2018, where I went through this whole entire state of depression, just suicidal tendencies, the whole shebang. But it was all because of something that happened with a relationship that I had previously that ended, and I just wasn't taking it well. And then after that, and I got through that, one of the biggest problems I had was, okay, if I'm going to end up talking to people and trying to let people in, it's going to be a struggle due to the fact that I know what happened to me the last time that happened, and there's an inherent fear of that happening again. However, one thing I've kind of taken that is like what this song is talking about, where I've taken that and seen what it has made me today, and kind of looking back at it, would I trade that for something to have happened that might have been different? And honestly, looking back at it, I'm going to say no, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have realized certain things about myself. I wouldn't become the person I became today. I wouldn't be more open with certain things because now I'm comfortable talking about it. And I would not have started anything like this. So it's like kind of look at him like, no wonder why I connect with this song in a completely different way. Again, yours, like what you're talking about with yours, the meaning of it more behind like a childhood trauma, me more of like something that happened to me when I was 21, 22 years old. However, just the effect and just how those moments make us who we are, that's where the connection comes in.
Yeah, man. And that right there is a big thing. So it's a matter of acceptance of not only yourself, kind of like, all right, this is why people need to be real with themselves instead of always pointing the fucking finger of all this other shit, of kind of like what it is. And like, they've done me, like, yeah, like, I'm not going to lie. If I actually, I will be real and open about it. So, but people have had it way worse than me. And I actually have another song coming out, the one after this, called All I Need, is about my daddy issues. So like, I actually, as I continue to write, I'm like able to finally start opening up all these things. And I'm using music as my therapy now to not only just write about other things, but more or less write about the deep, dark shit, like the like really the fucking personal hells that I have like put myself in or allowed myself to be in. From having a father that, was never around, never wanted anything to fucking do with me, and an abusive stepfather just beating on me for fucking 8 years of my life. And I never wanted to be home, and all of these things. So like, I just have a lot of like shit like that, you know what I'm saying? And like, So, I'm finally able to like talk about it, but it's kind of like, I never wanted to be home. I was always running away and like, or just like sleeping at my friend's house and shit. And then I started touring at 17. So my life is just being like this fucking nomad and kind of like, um, not really like having so much of a stability in that department. Um, so like I kind of like every time I move somewhere for like 2 years, I feel this natural urge to feel like I should be moving again. Like, oh, 2 years is up, I should be moving now. I'm like planting my roots somewhere else for a little bit. And I know that all stems back from my past of constantly moving around and stuff as a kid, and going to city schools, like really urban schools and shit like that, and then getting having to be moved out from fighting and like all this shit. So like, and again, these are all the things that make us who we are, and all it is just reflecting on your past and shit. Get some therapy, learn about your past, learn about yourself, and this kind of go, this is why I am the way that I am. And the more we're able to be real and raw, not only with ourselves, but with each other, and kind of like throw it on the fucking table and go, this is who I am, man. And just kind of, now more a bit of me, why I may come off a certain way or like react a certain way or whatever, because now you're learning about me. And that's the importance of everything today. Everybody preaches this bullshit about individuality, right? But at the same time, though, nobody wants to take the time to actually learn about that person. And that, what is that individuality? What makes up that individuality? So, that's kind of what it is. Who we are kind of like, has it's like an onion, multiple layers of however I like when people can listen to a song and take their own thing from it. You know what I'm saying? That's the beauty of art. You know what I'm saying? So with me, I have a couple different meanings out of it. I'm glad you got your own out of it, and I hope as listeners continue to just really take in the lyrical content of it, and they can, as they digest it, they'll be able to take their own thing from it too. But yeah, that's what it is, man. It's like we are all individuals, and this is kind of our upbringings and childhood, our traumas, our everything, just shape us. That's what it is. It's just acknowledgement to that, really. So.
And I've been a huge proponent of artists really opening up in their music as well and just basically letting people in through it, because when you write something is that emotionally raw and that has severe emotional ties to it as well, from something that might be not as serious, something that might be a very serious thing, what's going to end up happening is you're going to open yourself up to the fans as well and to many other people. And when people listen to it, like when I listen to it, am I going to understand what you went through? I'm not going to understand fully, but I'm going to get an idea of it. I'm going to get a feeling from it just from the music. But what I'm going to be able to do to connect with it is take a piece that happened in my life that has that same kind of feel to it and then relate to it. There's going to be that sort of relation there, and that creates the connection. That creates the community within rock and metal. That creates the connection within the fan base, from the fans to the artists at the same time as well. And it's an incredibly powerful connection to the point where when things are happening in your life and you need to have that kind of escape, and you need to have that certain, maybe oomph of willpower, you go to that music, you go to those songs, and you listen to them, and you get that connection back, and you get that, basically that amplitude of positivity, no matter what it might be, back within your life.
Absolutely, man. That's it. That's exactly what it is. And that's what I want people to take from my music. So same thing.
And I think with Who We Are as well, again, because you're being a lot more open with this one, I think that's easily going to happen because, again, when people listen to lyrics, you're gonna get to hear the story. You're gonna get to hear exactly what's going on. But when you mix the instrumentals in there, you mix the full entire sound in there as well. That's really where I think the core comes in with a song like Who We Are, because you're going through a lot of different styles as well within that, even with the vocal style, vocal patterns as well. But they all create a different sense, a different feel, and you're gonna end up just being able to hit on many different emotions just through that in the span of 3.5 minutes.
Right. And there's one key point to Who We Are that I do want people to understand as well. The biggest thing is, it's kind of more or less like, this is the hand that I'm dealt. And this is what I want people to understand too, like with themselves, like reflect on your life. This is the hand that I'm dealt. Now I can either make something of myself, which is Who We Are is about, or you can accept defeat and again make excuses for why you are not where you are, or who you want to be, or having the job that you want, or you know what I'm saying? Like, no longer make excuses, but more or less kind of like, all right, I accept that this is what it is in my life. This is who I am, but now this is what I want. This is where I want to be. This is what I want to do. this is what I'm going to go for. And then put your wheels in motion and start doing it. And that's what it's really about. So, again, overcoming. I like writing songs about overcoming. I think it's the biggest thing. We have songs about overcoming, drug abuse and, things like that. And then I call out Big Pharma. Dude, did you see today the shit on Big Pharma?
Shoot, I must have missed it actually. Again, for everyone listening, this is because, again, we're recording this podcast comes out a later date. So, again, when we're recording this, I have no idea what you're talking about, Joey. So please enlighten me on this.
Dude, Oxy, one of the fucking pharma reps who just was putting out Oxys just got, oh my God, I just skimmed over it. Now I'm going to sound like an ass. Well, anyways, he just pled guilty to something huge. And he's going to be doing some jail time. I don't know. Even CNN just reported it. And I don't like following major news networks because they're all biased to whichever place they come from. But when it comes to things like that, like general stuff like that, not politicized shit, I like reading stuff on that. So
I know I'm trying to pull it up real quick just so I can see what exactly is going on here.
Yeah.
Just, shoot, I am not really finding anything right now, but then again, I'm probably not searching up very well right now due to the fact that I don't want to take away from what's going on here. But But it is something like I love the fact that when you kind of call when you're able to use your music to call something out like that, because with me, even though like there's a lot of things within punk rock right now where it's like a lot of different viewpoints. Yeah, I'm not gonna agree with everyone's viewpoint. Like with my favorite band, I don't agree with everything that Rise Against thinks or what Rise Against or what Tim McElrath thinks or says. However, I still enjoy the music out like wholeheartedly, and I love the fact that they're putting all their passion and what they truly believe into their music. Same thing with you. I love the fact that if you're going to talk about overcoming drug abuse and then calling out Big Pharma at the same time as well, absolutely go for it, because then there's that raw emotional connection that a lot of people might be feeling as well, and you're literally giving that tangible, you're giving like something that might be hard to describe in terms of a feeling, like a tangible explanation, because they can say, well, what does it feel like to feel this? And feel that kind of anger, feel that kind of just like sadness or whatever it might be. Yeah, just take a listen to this song. You'll feel it.
Dude, authenticity is the biggest thing with me, man. Like, I won't ever fucking write about something I never experienced. I won't portray something in a video that's just kind of like doesn't hit near and dear to me. The opioid thing was very near and dear. As far as like even hitting my siblings, that's where some of the stories in there are actually, they're all the portrayal in the Set the World in Flames music video. For those that are want to check that out, all those situations are real situations that were put down on that. And I remember talking to Jesse when we did the music video. I go, if we do it, I don't want some glamorized fucking drug approach on it. You know what I'm saying? I want some fucking real, this is the raw shit. This is where they do it and how they do it, and real life stories put behind it, man, because that's what again, I want to put the real shit in front of people. I want people to hear the real thing and see the real thing. So but yeah, Spineless music video, when I took a more dramatic approach, because I one day want to direct film. That's actually like one of my long-term goals, is actually to write my own movies, and I'm a huge movie buff. So that's why all of our music videos are kind of like short film stuff a little bit, and I try to put a lot into them because of I'm kind of using it just, I guess, to build a resume or kind of learn as I go, I guess, at the same time. But yeah, Spineless was really about the experimentation and the medical system that we have in this country, and Big Pharma as well, and they're all fucking linked. And again, they're like salespeople as well, man. And especially now, people hopefully are seeing it more with these like Zoom calls with their doctors because of the COVID shit. It's like, dude, you're getting like not the immediate care that people deserve. Some people that are like really sick and shit, and you're getting a quick phone call at the doctor's convenience, and then they bill the shit out of your insurance, and they're just kind of, and then every time I go in, my doctor's like pushing shit on me. Like, dude, I had a fucking herniated disc, and it left, like, once the disc went back in from like sciatica and shit, I had the sciatic nerve that was going nuts. The guy wants to give me fucking anti-seizure medicine. Oh, we've learned that it also can help with this. Like, fuck you, dude. Stop like pushing pills down everybody's fucking throats. Like, it takes a lot for me to even take a fucking Advil. So it's like, oh God, man, it's just like, it's so fucked. That's just what they want to do. And like, I also dated a girl that was a pharmaceutical sales rep, man. And like, I'll tell you what, dude, she has to wine and dine these doctors when she, goes out, and like, takes him to lunch and buys the office lunch and all this shit. And the pills that they push, this is fact too. The pills that they push are the ones that they're getting kickbacks on too, these doctors. So they also can make a side score. Dude, it's so fucked, man. It's so fucked. It's it's just regulated. That's what makes it all fucking legal. But they're no different than drug dealers, man. So it's like, it's fucked, dude.
I'll say that doesn't surprise me at all, because even like within mainstream media as well, or even like in mainstream television, because I remember I was watching, everyone probably knows, I was watching the show New Girl because, I still think it's funny.
I love that show, dude. Schmidt is my favorite person ever.
Oh, I'm all Nick Miller, man. But then again, that comes from the fact that just like that whole entire like Midwestern vibe, playing a guy from Chicago, the guy that plays him initially from Chicago. I live 90 miles north, so like I totally just kind of get that. But like in the last season, or the second last season, when he's dating the girl that Megan Fox is playing, because she's a farmer rep, and seeing what she has to do in order to like just sell the drug, it's like, okay, if they're putting that on the mainstream media, that's like on a TV show, it's a comedy, but still, there's that. And I actually have a personal story about that as well, because like when I was talking about going through those like depression, suicidal tendency things, there was a point in time, early 2018, and this happened throughout the whole entire second half too of 2017. I couldn't sleep for shit. Like if I was getting 3 hours of sleep a night, I was lucky. And I went to my doctor to go get a physical examination, because I wanted to figure out if there was anything physically wrong that might be causing that, or if it was all mental. We did kind of looked at what was going on, and there was nothing wrong physically. It's like, okay, so now I know it's mental. So I was asking him kind of, where can I go to, talk about this and kind of figure out exactly how to fix this. And it was, alrighty, here's 2 antidepressants I want you to take. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I know this isn't a physical thing, so why are we trying to change the physical aspects of it? Oh, this will boost the serotonin levels in your brain, and you'll be happier, and you'll be able to sleep more. I'm like, but then I don't want to take it, because I don't want to become dependent on that kind of stuff. Absolutely. He pushed that stuff so damn hard, and it got to a point where, because I was still living with my parents at the time, and I told them about it, and they're like, oh yeah, well, we trust him, so we're gonna go and we're just go and film. I'm like, why? So had to go and film him. And there was one that I couldn't sleep, so I'm like, okay, I'll take 1/3 of one pill. I'll just give it a shot, see what happens. And that night I actually fell asleep, so I'm like, okay. The next night I was struggling to fall asleep, so I'm like, okay, let's try this again. And it got to a point where I did not sleep that whole entire night. Like my brain was just like forcibly going against it. I took both jars of pills the next morning, and I just dumped them. I'm like, this is stupid. I'm not doing this shit.
Yeah. See, dude, and that comes back full circle again, man. That's your free will. You know what I'm saying? That's what we were talking about yesterday. Free will, man. Your choice to do something and not do something, knowing that there's outcomes. There's consequences to everything we do in this world, no matter what it is. Whatever we eat, that's why they say you are what you eat, man. I believe diet's a big fucking ordeal. I believe, honestly, you want to boost your serotonin, get in the fucking gym, do something. You can't sleep at night, smoke a fucking blunt, man. I don't know what I'm saying? Try other more natural things before relying on things that are not fucking natural. And it's not a matter of saying that some people don't need them. I get that. And it's not to say that if you take things like that, you're a weak individual or anything like that, but try other things first before resorting to a chemically made substance that you do become reliant on. And then, I don't know, like, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure because I'm not on them. But I know that, I have an uncle that takes like fucking 40 pills a day for things. And a lot of them are antidepressants. Like, dude, yeah, man, he has to take like a lot of shit, man. So again, when I speak from experience, not from ignorance. So I see what it does to people around me from anything that I talk about, every single thing. And if I don't know something, I just don't fucking know, and I don't really comment on it. And that's, again, I think what the biggest fucking problem with the world today is that everybody speaks so fucking emotionally and impulsively without knowledge, and they just react. And that's the fucking problem. And the internet is giving everybody a voice to just fucking react and bully and do this and beat down instead of understand. Just understand. You don't gotta fucking agree. Like you were saying about Tim from Rise. I love Rise Against, but I know he could get political, and I don't fucking care. But I do like the guy's music. I love them. I love Rise Against, and I think he's got an amazing voice. So, and that's the thing too. Bring that back. Bring that mentality back. There's a lot of talented people in this fucking world. You don't have to agree how they live their life. You don't have to agree. Dude, Nikki Sixx was a fucking heroin addict.
I don't do drugs, but I love Motley fucking Crue, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to agree with how they live their lives or what they do or believe in, and like, but I can still like them for their art and what they produce. It's the same shit. Nowadays, though, it's all this cancel culture shit. It's like so fucking extreme. Like, I don't like the way he thinks, so fuck him and everything about him. It's like, fuck you. Like, that's stupid. That's stupid. It's ignorance.
Exactly, because like I'm thinking about it for myself. If I had that mindset of like it's either my way or the die way kind of thing, and it's like if I kind of was like, okay, I don't agree with everything that like Tim from Rise Against says or what he thinks, and if I kind of let that just be my thought process, like I can't associate with that, then I would stop. I would stop listening to my favorite band of all time. I'm not gonna do that. And the thing is what you're bringing up too is like when you're talking about the things that you're talking about, you're being really raw and completely real with all this stuff. It's you're going to give your take, but then you're also giving all the context behind it as well. And one thing I'm always talking about too with certain people, especially when I do those live streams, is I love to hear everyone's different opinions. I love to hear them. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But if you're going to say something like, if like you want to do an album review, it's like, okay, this is what I think. But what do you guys think of it? It sucks. And I'll always ask the question, why? Just I know you have an opinion. That's fine. But give me a why. And it just, then all of a sudden sometimes I get a response like, oh, it just sucks, man. I'm like, okay, I can't take this seriously because you're just hating on it to hate on it. You're not going to give me accurate context. But if people are like, you know, if you have an opinion, it's different from mine, and then you give all the context behind it, I may still not agree with you, but I'm fully going to understand exactly where you're coming from. And that's the key is I don't have to agree with you, but it's great to understand exactly what your thought process is because maybe there's something that I didn't think of that you experience. And then I can deploy empathy and sympathy upon that and maybe understand something in a completely different light. And who knows what might happen there. But it's just something where we're not constantly yelling at each other at that point. We're working to understand at that point.
Yep. Absolutely, man. And that's what it's all about right there.
That's what it really is all about. And one other thing that I like what you said, and I'm kind of going to bring this back to who we are in a little bit as kind of like that little segue as well. But we were talking about with a lot of stuff that you've experienced as well. And when it comes to just how you've kind of taken things on life, and it's all, again, about things might not have gone right. But again, the person that can change that is yourself.
So only yourself.
So it takes a huge piece of like, instead of playing the blame game, take personal accountability and say, yeah, things might have sucked, but how can I better myself at this point right now? Instead of just saying, okay, things sucked. All right, I'm going to blame that. Instead of focusing on what happened, focus on what's going to happen when you take accountability.
Yep, absolutely, man. I believe in, I like to manifest. I like to manifest and have positive affirmations and all that shit. And like, I like rewiring my brain, man. I really do. I don't want to get sucked up into a negative mindset. And it's not always easy either. Like, even if you're having a bad day, but if you kind of just like, there's times where I'm driving, I'm like, oh God, I'm just like, feel like I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. But I'll say like 5 things I'm grateful for and just like completely like, you know what I'm saying? And just kind of like start rewiring my brain. Because again, accountability. I could choose to sit in this bad fucking mood for the rest of my day, or I can literally go, that's a waste of fucking hours in a day. Maybe I should do something about it and change that. Or again, if it's tough, you had a bad day, then you just go, tomorrow's gonna be a good day. And that's the way you fucking do it, because it's a bad day, not a bad life. And that's the way I try to view things and shit like that. So it's all, dude, it's your perception of things, man. I want to be positive, bro. I don't want to sit here and focus on what's fucking wrong in the world all the time, and what's wrong with myself and what's wrong with this and what's wrong. I'm gonna see what's right. I'm gonna sit with that shit, and I'm gonna continue to build on that. So that's it. I mean, I'm alive, I'm healthy, and those are the most important things. So who cares? I got the shit kicked out of me for 8 years of my life by an abusive piece of shit, but what the fuck? I'm here. I'm not dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I got some fucking shit I got to work through in my brain, but other than that, I'm good. Like, it is what it is. So that's it, man.
And one of the things to remember too is like when it comes to personal accountability, we've all gone through some of those things as well. And like I said, like they've all made us who we are to the point now. And it's like, instead of constantly like taking a look at pointing, okay, this happened and this happened, and I don't like how that happened and it made me who I am today, but I'm just gonna keep blaming it for not going forward. And basically let me rephrase that, because I kind of was losing my train of thought there, but I got it back. So give me a minute. Okay. So when it comes down to it, it's like, there's a lot of things that have happened in the past, but it's like, okay, instead of focusing on that and focusing on that, how that's kept you down and keep blaming it, one thing that if you're going to keep blaming it, it's going to end up keeping you back from achieving what you want to achieve in life. So if you're gonna have more of that positive outlook, and I've seen people with more of that positive outlook as well, what's gonna happen is they're gonna have more energy. They're gonna have that vibrato, that confidence to go forward and try new things and try different things as well that are gonna make them happy, to the point that we're all trying to get that in life, and that is to be successful. Now, when I say successful, I mean it in the Gary Vaynerchuk style, where when you're successful, it doesn't matter how much fucking money you make. It doesn't matter. All that matters
that's not success, bro. That's not fucking success. I don't care what anybody thinks. Go ahead.
I'll say what success is if you are living your life and you are the happiest possible thing. I think 100%. Success is relative. I've got a buddy right now. I know he works with metal. I think he cuts metal. I'm not sure how much he makes a year. He has a house. He's engaged, and he's the happiest guy in the world. And I look at him like, how can I say that guy's not a success? He's literally living the life that he wants to live. That's successful right there. There could be someone making $10 million a year and seem more successful than he is. But if that dude's miserable, then he's wasting his life doing something that he doesn't love. This dude is literally loving life every step of the way. How is that not successful?
That is success, Brian. And that's awesome. And that's great that your boy's doing that too, because that's what it is, man. It's all that, like, I can imagine the conversations that dude has had with himself growing up to go, this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. This is what I want to achieve. What is it that would make me happy? I think that's another thing too. I wish people would literally just ask themselves, what is happiness to me? And that's what it is. Like, that's a question that's so fucking hard to answer. Like, if you sat back and asked yourself that, like, after this interview, ask yourself that, what is happiness to me? And like, literally that, like, dude, it's a tough question even for me. I'm like, oh fuck, like, it's a lot, but that's going to get you on the right track. Once you're able to answer that shit, or start answering that, you go build off of that, but that's going to get you on the right track of what it is. Cause then you start following that path to whatever it is. That's what happiness is about, man.
And to add on to that, I actually have asked myself that question a couple of times. And one thing I always come back to is just, what is happiness to me? And there's always just this certain state of personal euphoria that I feel and personal energy that I feel when I am at that point of like, this is where I'm happy. And I'm constantly trying to figure out, okay, when are the times when I'm feeling that on a consistent basis? And not gonna lie, one of those times is when I'm doing these podcasts, because I get to talk to so many different people from so many different like upbringings and backgrounds, and just to get the perspective and to talk music with them, which is just what I love to do. Talk music, talk life, talk whatever. And it's just something that I can be just in the worst mood possible and have a little bit more of like a downer kind of day, like we were talking about. Because I had one of those days kind of day. I'm just like, oh man, all of a sudden we jump on this call, and I mean, it was just like right away. It was just like right when I saw your little thing pop up on the Zoom call, it was just like, whoop, here we go. And it was just
that's awesome.
It happens every single time. And that's why I love doing these. That's why I love doing 2 episodes a week, because it's something that just makes me incredibly happy. So I'm going to keep doing it because, hell, I enjoy it. By the end of this, I'm going to be smiling from ear to ear, because I always am, because I'm always absolutely jacked up after these.
Dude, it feeds your soul. And that's so fucking important, man. So that makes me, I'm genuinely happy to hear that. That makes me really happy for you, because I love that. I love a person that's so passionate about something in their life, because so many people don't have that. And it's just because they have not asked those questions. They have not dug within themselves to find out what it is that makes them happy. But once they find it, it's like, you can feel it. Like you said, they just vibrate with this energy. It just radiates off them. So that's great. That's awesome. And I'm sorry that you're having a rough day, but I'm glad you're having a better one. So.
Oh, trust me. Right when we got in this call, it just went from like, to all of a sudden, like
that's
just
awesome.
Straight up. And I'm feeling like, dude, I could go all night with all this podcast. If I could work on this all night, I know I gotta get some sleep at some point though. So I'm gonna have to calm down a little bit. But you know what? I just take a look at him like, if I'm gonna be doing those things where I get that concentrated just euphoria and happiness, then I'm going to go and do that. And it's doing this. It's building this whole entire podcast, building the whole entire MSOTD Rocks project. And a couple other places I get those, and one that's absolutely just paramount, but unfortunately don't have them right now very much, are live shows. And I know, I'm pretty sure you can attest to that as well, where live shows just, again, we've talked about it beforehand, but again, just the happiness that goes through there. It's, why do people go to so many shows? Because they feel so damn happy when they're there.
Yeah, man. It's funny because I saw a show, or I didn't see it, but I saw like a live stream of a show that happened here in Rochester maybe a month or 2 back, and they had a plexiglass on the stage. So the band was performing behind that. People were sitting in chairs, which again, I understand I'm not a scientist, but let's face it, even the scientists are going 180 on everything they said. So they don't even know what the fuck's going on either. But so I'm a barber and a hairstylist as well. Well, I cut the singer of one of the bands, and I was talking to him about that. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if I could do that personally. I don't know if I could play behind a plexiglass barricade, because the most important thing is, like, I'd rather hold out. And the reason being is, the most amazing thing about shows is interaction with the fans, interaction with the crowd. When you're on stage, like, dude, I fucking black out when I'm on stage. Not like drunk blackout, but like, I just, like, all of my problems go away when I'm on stage. That's my euphoria, is when I'm on stage. Like, I love being in the studio, don't get me wrong. And like, I do songwriting, I do all of these things with like other bands, and it's phenomenal. But to me, there's nothing more amazing than being on stage and seeing people, wearing your merchandise and singing your words back to you. That to me is like, and then you can just see them belting, and the emotion on their faces, like, dude, that's what I fucking live for. I love it. That's my purpose right there. So, and having this barricade now, it's like a divider. I could see them, but they're sitting, and it's like, and I can't perform like that. I'd rather hold out. And it's the same thing with like live streaming shows. Like, to me, and this is not a dog towards bands. I'm sure some bands do it genuinely, but I know some bands are doing it to profit as well. And, to each their own. If their fans want to pay, then do it up. But I won't be doing that. Ovtlier is not going to do any sort of virtual anything, because those experiences are the most intimate. That's where people, they're, like you said, being at shows. That's what makes them feel good. That's what makes me feel good. I don't want to lessen that experience. I don't want to dampen it. I don't want to do like a second rate experience of that. Like, cause it's not, you're losing the better parts of it, in my opinion. But
you want to make that emotional connection. It's like, you want to make that emotional connection within those live shows be the best possible that you can be at any given moment, so that the state of euphoria that you get off, and the state of happiness that you get off it, you want to make sure that the fans have that opportunity to do the exact same thing. And many of them do. Again, like, there's a lot of reasons why people go to these concerts. A lot of people wear the band t-shirts that they wear. I mean, if you look at my closet right now, it's like, half of the shirts that are in there for band t-shirts, half of them consist either Ice Nine Kills or Rise Against. And there's a full-on reason for that. And a lot of that is because of how live performances have made me feel. I mean, I can put Ice Nine Kills out there specifically because, again, I went from like not really knowing the band to just absolutely loving them, having be my second favorite band of all time. I was thinking of like top 5 concerts I've ever been to. Like, that'll be up there. But Rise Against has 4 others, but it's all the emotional connection that's gained off of those.
Yeah, it's 100%, man. I agree with you on all of that. And like I said, it's not, that's not a jab towards any band that does that. It's not a jab towards any fan that prefers a virtual thing. It's really not at all. But that's why I said we won't be doing it, because it takes away from our favorite experiences. And I think most of our fans would agree with that as well. So, so we rather hold out and just go live and do interviews and do podcasts, and that way they can hear from us that way. So
yeah, it's not a jab at anybody else with what they're doing. It's a personal take. And again, absolutely love the fact that we're giving so much context behind it, so there's understanding that is there. So people who might not agree with that take, again, they're going to understand why that take is there. So you can't really be like, oh no, bad. It's like, well, you understand it now, and it's like a lot of people will be like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. So yeah.
Context, like, it's all context, man.
It is all context. The game is all context at this point. If just we could get more context in there, and it's just everything about it. Plus, with everything going on right now, again, a lot of your songs you're talking about, like, with everything that you put in there, while it doesn't necessarily talk about overcoming like what's going on with this whole entire pandemic, but it can be related to that as well, for everyone to kind of maybe come together and finally overcome this, so that we can get back to the fact that for people that want to always go out to the bars and clubs and party, that they're going to be able to do that. People that want to go to sporting events and just pack the stadiums and just cheer on their favorite team, they can do that. And then for all of us who want to go back to concerts and just enjoy that state of euphoria and happiness, that all of our problems just go away at that given moment, for bands up on stage, for people enjoying in the crowd, for me getting thrown around in a mosh pit and potentially breaking my nose, like, I want to get that back. So can we all just like use that, like, again, use some of these songs that have this like overcoming emotion to it to kind of draw us together in a way, so we can finally overcome this and get back to that shit.
Right. And I think, again, man, like we were saying last night, like there's no, stop politicizing everything. It does not need to be politicized. It's just, some people want to do certain things. Let everybody live their life the way they want. And again, the people that are preaching this individuality shit half the time don't allow other people to live the way they fucking want. That's my problem with hypocrite America. Like, I'm so fucking over that shit. Like, practice what you fucking preach. You know, I don't care how you live your life, what you do, dress as, identify as, do whatever you want. Don't hurt other people. And it's simple as that. You know, like, do whatever you fucking want. And if somebody doesn't accept you, fuck them. It doesn't even matter. It does not, nothing matters in the grand spec of life. Like, honestly, in the grand, dude, as you blink, man, like, I'm telling you what, this year and everything in the years to come, everything's going to speed up, man. Life is just going by, and all we can sit here and worry about this petty ass shit, or we can literally just look around and go, I'm going to enjoy my life now, and I'm not going to worry about what others think of me. And that's it. And that's it. People need to mind their own fucking business too half the time. Worry about yourself. That's where all that energy, that's the reason why people feel the way they feel and all this stuff. Like, because they're taking their energy and throwing it in places that don't matter, man. Like, this is, worry about you, man. Get right. Get happy with yourself. Love yourself. Know yourself. Accept and love yourself. And I think a lot of people don't do that, man. And I think that's it. And it self-projects into other areas. I truthfully believe that.
It doesn't. When you see a lot of people that focus in on that, you know, take their energy and really focus it in on themselves and pretend, and again, take accountability for themselves, trying to better themselves as well. You're seeing a lot of these people do a lot of incredible things with that. And it basically kind of like, I'm going to accept me for me, and I'm going to focus all my energy on what I'm doing. What you're doing, I don't give a crap what you're doing. If you want to, whatever you want to do, go do that. Just let me do what I want to do. I'll let you do what you want to do. Just let me do what I want to do. And we'll leave it at that. And you see a guy like, and I'm going to bring it up as a perfect example for this. Take a look at a guy like Ronnie Radke, where it's just how much shit he's gotten over the years, and he's always done his own thing. And now look at what he's doing. I mean, one of the, honestly, in rock and metal, it's just like, there's a lot of people like, oh my God, Blind in Reverse is good. It's like, dude, they've been good for a long time, and you guys are just noticing this now. And then on Twitch, the guy's constantly in the top 10 for subscribers the whole, like, ever since he started, basically, because he's built it up and he is incredible at it. Yeah, so man. Focusing all that attention, all his energy on what he's doing and what he cares about has really catapulted him into the position that he's in, and he's going to keep doing it. And if kind of like take some inspiration from that, focus all your energy in on yourself and what makes you happy, and all of a sudden you're going to end up becoming successful again. The relative part of it, where you're going to become successful to the point where you're going to become happy with what you're doing. You're going to have the happiest life possible because you're going to be doing what makes you happy.
Right. And then you'll be worrying less about what others are doing and how others think or look at you too. That's the other thing too. So that's where your confidence comes from, is from you being happy. So once you're happy and shit, you don't even care what other people think or look at, you know what I'm saying? So I agree with you, man. And, you know, and, even just going back to Ronnie Radke, man, like, you know, he's, you know, whether people like him or dislike him personally, it doesn't even matter. The guy is talented as fuck, and that's just what it comes down to. And, you know, and I respect him as a businessman. I think that's where I look at him, and I pay attention to him the most. I think Ronnie's actually a very smart individual. And I think people also need to remember, this has no relation to that, but going back to what we were saying, we are all flawed. And I don't know where the fuck everybody thought they became so fucking perfect overnight, to where they can critique and judge other people all the time about the mishaps, the things that people have said from fucking, you know, 10, 20, 30 years ago. Like, oh, you're so fucking perfect, right? You walk the straight and narrow your entire life. Okay. Like, get this. Oh man, God, man, we're all imperfect. And
it's like when people are like, when you're in your teens, when you're in your 20s, everyone does stupid shit. There's no one that's living the perfect life, bro. I'll say this: if there's someone's like, oh yeah, what when Kevin was 17, him and his friends threw water balloons at people from a moving car and threw them at like street racers. Yeah, we did that. Was it stupid looking back at it? Absolutely, it was
Part of
stupid.
it's part of growing up, man. It's all part of life, dude. We do stupid shit. It's the only way you learn. Do stupid shit, man. I used to do tons of dumb shit when I was 16. I'll throw fucking bottle rockets in the middle of intersections like a dumbass. Like, I don't even care. And you know why my friends were like, actually, I was 15. And you know why my friends were like, oh, you should do this because you can't go to jail. You're too young. So, like, dude, dumb shit, man. My buddies, dude, we fucking used to just, oh my God, man, we did dumb shit. We did dumb fucking boyish shit. You know what? And that's part of life, man. And everybody's done dumb shit. Some people just don't have a camera strapped to their back, so they, want to pretend like it never fucking happened. So it's crazy too, man. It's wild because there's people that I've learned this. The people that do a lot of the finger pointing, man, they're the guilty ones. That's what I've learned a lot. There's like a lot of it's just crazy, man. It's crazy. I won't even divulge in what I was gonna say, but
fair enough. But it's like I'll put it this way: there are definitely times where people are doing the finger pointing. Sometimes there is credibility behind it, but there's a lot of times also where people are doing the finger pointing. They might be equally guilty on different levels or even more guilty on other levels as well. Don't want to dive too deep into that because then that could get really personal at the same point as well.
Yep.
And that could always end up badly. And who wants to deal with that at this moment when it's kind of like, that's just, again, then that kind of takes away from the whole entire personal accountability thing. Cause now we're taking a look at other people, we're judging them. And it's like, well, let them do their thing. Cause they probably did stupid stuff in their past. We did stupid stuff in our past. And
exactly.
And it's kind of like the people that do stupid stuff in their past. It's like, yeah, I did it. So what?
Right.
It's like, it's kind of looking at that. It's like, you know what? What at this point, whatever. If it was something what happened like 10, 12 years ago, and it's like, okay, it was like, I thought it was okay then, but not okay now. It's like, well, it was okay then. Who cares?
I know. Times are different, man. And as times continue to grow, change, there's things that are just that's also, I guess, a good thing too that some people should look at. Instead of worrying about so much of the fucking past, look at how far we've come, that we're no longer like this, or that person is no longer like that. That is growth. That's positivity right there in itself, right?
Exactly.
And again, I hope nobody listening to this is thinking this is like some political imply on anything, but like, I'm talking about just the average Joe, the average person, man. And people change, society's changed. We've grown a lot and we continue to grow. And the more you hold on to the past, is you're just really you're slowing down the progression. So, but
yeah, the more, it's kind of like for personal lives as well. It's like the more you're holding on to your past personally, the slower you're basically hindering your progression forward towards happiness. And it's like, even if the past is like stuff that happened bad in your past as well, if you're so focusing on that, you're stopping yourself from being happy and maybe putting that in, like, not saying putting that behind, like completely, like in like deleting it, but basically putting it to a point where you can look at it and it's not holding you back anymore.
Childhood trauma, bro, baggage, past relationships, all of this. This is my point. These are things in the past. We can either learn from them and grow from them, or we can sit there and let them hinder, the ability of growth or progression. So, yeah, it's life, man. It's all part of the same shit.
It's all part of the same shit. We've all gone through shit, and it's all what's made us who we are today. Again, bringing it back to the song. It's perfect with all this stuff. It all brings back to who we are today, and how we're using that to make that who we are today. And again, going back into the song as well, it's just like, you really hit the nail on the head with that. Again, it really does hit strong, especially even with the music video as well, because it's not, I mean, there's a lot of different imagery going on in there as well, and you're able to see certain things as well. And I love what you put out there where it's like, you're not going to pull punches on this. You're not going to, try and be like, okay, we're not going to try and gloss over this kind of thing. You're going to make it as real and raw as possible within your music videos to get your point across.
Oh, the music video is a real story too. I mean, I won't get into that, but the music video is a real story. So all of the chaos that happened within that, like, I mean, you're cramming it into a 3 minute, 30-second, 4-minute song, but they were highlighted key moments, in situations, and dude, it was toxic relationships, and I just got out of like. I recently got out of the most toxic thing I ever experienced. So I know, similar to what you're going through and stuff like that. But, you know, I love where I am today. You know what I'm saying? I love doing me, being single, all that shit, you know, taking my energy, putting it in good places, things that feed my soul, you know, all that stuff. So that's the big thing. But yeah, man, who we are. It's a very powerful song. It's going to sit very strongly in the arsenal of everything we have and everything we're going to create moving forward. And the overall message is great. And I hope people can, again, learn to accept, love themselves, and then hopefully that will lead to accepting others and loving others. You know, just that's it. Growing as a society, man, and that's it. Compassion. That's the biggest thing we lack for one another now. And I think that's the beauty of shows, like we were talking about. Like when you're at a show, you don't care how that person looks. You don't care about, you know, anything. You're both there sharing that one thing, and you don't even have to talk to them. You just both know that you're there to have a good time and enjoy yourselves. And right there, that's like a level of compassion. You're both there feeling this thing, this energetic flow of seeing your favorite bands and hearing that music and the fucking just blasting over the speakers and seeing one hell of a live show. And you just know everybody's feeling it. Dude, it's like a church, bro, for some. You know what I'm saying? Those that like go to church and like they need that. You know what I'm saying? That's the same thing as what a concert is. It's like a church. You get all these people that are coming together and feeling this thing together. And it's like a powerful thing, man. And I believe that we all, you know, we're all, you know, like we're made up of energy. You know what I'm saying? So like you get all so many minds together in a room and you're all feeling the same type of way. Dude, it just makes it an atmosphere of something amazing. Like I know that during COVID, I tried working out at home. I have like a very mini gym at my place, but it's not the same, man. Like when I go to the gym, like I'm just surrounded by this energy of like people that are trying to, you know, just, you know, exercise, you know, and just take care of themselves and, you know what I'm saying, and exercise and like just push themselves. And you just, it's part of that atmosphere. So like with everything, you're just part of an atmosphere and it just creates more to that experience, really. So,
and there's a lot of people that take a look at rock and metal shows as well, where it's like they take a look at the chaos that's kind of going on in the crowd, and it's like, oh my God, how is that possible? How is that anything that could be considered, you know, helpful? But then again, it's for a lot of people that like, again, like they might go to sporting events and feel the same thing, might go to church, might just attend certain groups and feel the same thing. This is what we feel like when we go to concerts. We just feel that state of euphoria and that state of connectiveness. We feel that positive energy radiating through everybody. So when you see this massive crowd constantly moving side to side, you're seeing people, you know, crowd surfing, or let the day remember crowd surfing the crowd surfer, because that always was fun. I wish I did that, but of course I was in the front row when that happened, so I couldn't really do that. My bad on that one though. But like, or even in the mosh as well, as people getting whipped around back and forth. You don't understand. It's like a lot of people don't understand how incredible of a time that is for people that really connect with that. Because for myself, that time where it's like nothing else matters. All that matters is the fact that we're enjoying the music. People love smashing into each other, and of course, at the end of it, everyone's giving each other high fives. People are hugging each other, and also the next song starts, and you're going right back at it again. Oh, and of course, when someone falls down, there's like 6 or 7 people out there really picking them right back up right away. There's this whole sense of happiness and community there where everyone's able to just let go of all this pent up emotion in that moment. And by the time it's over, it's like a religious experience, honestly.
Yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying, man. Some people find this connection, whatever you want to call it. Everybody's, and that's, again, I don't care what you even believe in. I don't care if some people do have a religion. I don't care if you're an atheist. I don't care anything. Like, I don't care what you do, what you believe in. Do something that feeds your soul, no matter what it is. At the end of the day, I don't fucking care. But do something that makes you happy. Do something that feeds your soul. This life is going by, man. And if you spend your days doing absolutely nothing, I mean, hey, if that's how you want to spend it, you know, do your thing. But like, again, even that, I'm not even going to judge you. Do your thing. But those that need to kind of remember, hey, life's ticking, you know, that clock don't slow down for nobody. Do something, man. Be a part of something and feel that thing, that community, all of that stuff. Dude, I miss fucking shows, bro. The more you talk about it, is the more I'm starting to miss it. So
every time I do a podcast, it always ends up coming up to it, especially now with everything with the pandemic. And I just end up getting like reminiscence of shows of like, again, like me almost break my nose, me getting this giant cut above my eye, me holding up somebody from either the Chicago Sun-Times or Chicago Tribune on my shoulders just so she could get pictures of the band that was on stage over the crowd. And that was the first time only time I ever met this person. She just like, I can't see. And then she asked if she could get on my shoulders. I didn't even question it. I'm like, yeah, sure. Why not? Because you're doing this for your job. You're loving this and you just need some help. Hell yeah, we're going to help. Who cares?
Right.
It's that sense of community. And it's just like, again, we miss that so much because it's just that time. It's just a time where a lot of people, there's so much positivity, so much happiness going around, whether within just like an absolutely chaotic crowd or more of just like a stagnant crowd, whatever it might be. But there's always so much positivity and happiness that's being radiated from that we absolutely miss that. And that sense of community is something that we're really lacking right now overall.
Well, the biggest thing is, man, is we are looking back at the evolution of man, you know what I'm saying? Or like even just times, you know, we are social creatures. We've been social creatures since fucking the first man, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you believe in or want to believe in. But like, and we're also tribal creatures. We're very tribal, which is why we all have cliques. We have certain things. That's just a part of what it was. Now, me growing up, I was always like friends with everybody. That was my personality. So like, I like to be a part of different tribes, different cliques. Like, I mean, dude, I was a skateboarder who was a fucking jock, but like, you know, I was friends with everybody. I didn't pick on anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was the one that was fucking defending people. You know what I'm saying? If they were getting bullied. So it's like, but we are tribal creatures, and that's the biggest thing. If going to shows and being a part of a church or groups or protests, even like everybody's finding their tribe, and that's kind of the biggest thing. I think there's a big shuffling going on right now of tribal stuff, but that's what people need to remember and understand too, is we are kind of tribal people. And I think everybody at the end of the day just wants to feel like they belong to something, and that's great. And that's just naturally within our DNA. You know what I'm saying? But again, I want people to really like, I think history is so fucking important because, and I don't mean just history of war. I mean, history of continents really, and countries, and like even the makeup of cities and things like that. I mean, dude, I was, so I'm Italian, you know, and like full Italian, and my family came over as an arranged marriage from Italy. But I wanted to like really study the history, excuse me, the history of like Sicily, because I have also, I'm like half Sicilian or 3/4 Sicilian if you want to dissect it in any way. But like, dude, Sicily was like owned by Spain at one point, and then like Africa, and then at another, and then like even the Greeks had their hands on it at one point, and like, and then Italy is like the you know, obviously the one that is in control of it today, or like it's a part of today. And like, that's where people need to, your makeup, your genetic makeup and all of that. That's why things are important. I love American pride, I really do, but I think it's kind of also gotten people away from tradition. And when you take a person away from tradition, or like when you ask a person, oh cool, so like what's your ethnicity, or what's your nationality, and where can you trace the past couple generations of your family, it also kind of helps explain why you are the way you are a little bit, or where you come from, and certain things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like certain, like me, you know, I'm covered in tattoos and this and that, but I come from a very traditional Italian family, so I'm kind of like the black sheep, if you will, in certain ways, like, you know, at least the way that I look. But I still have like a lot of traditions that I like to carry, and I think those things are important. And our families, well, most of our families, you know, they come here, they cross a big fucking pond. Oh, you know, many years ago, they took a chance. I mean, could you do that? Do you think, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think people forget things like that. And it's like, damn, that was a ballsy time in life, especially back then with like all the illnesses and with no vaccines. And like, you're going to a strange country where you don't know anybody, and you're packing up in hopes for a better life. You know what I'm saying? So there's like so many things that I like to personally look at, you know, and that way I can show, like, I could have appreciation toward my ancestors, because that's fucking nuts, you know, to me. So And I think like when you do that, you learn a little bit more about yourself. You learn a little bit about like, again, your genetic makeup, your DNA, certain things, maybe even certain foods. Like I naturally love a Mediterranean diet. Well, it makes fucking sense. Why? Because I'm right there at the boot. So, like there's just certain things. It's cool. You kind of help learn a little bit more about yourself sometimes, like what you naturally like to do or why you naturally are like this or that. And that's a certain thing. So, um, I guess I really like knowing myself inside and out. That way I can accept myself. I could laugh at myself. Holy shit, I laugh at myself. Me and JD, when we're in the studio, man, we fucking, holy shit, I take jabs at myself all the time. I'm like super hard on myself. And it's good to laugh at yourself. It's good to just like know that you're fucking flawed and you're imperfect and just like, and go, man, I'm a silly motherfucker. And that's it. So I don't know. I'm like rambling now on all of it, but I think like, again, the sense of belonging, it's kind of like it's already embedded into us. And I think it's also a good thing for people to ask, like, why do I want to be a part of this? Why do I want to do this? Not question it like don't do it, but more or less like I feel this way about this, and why do I feel this way about this? And so
I think even with that rambling, you kind of brought it all back full circle in the end too, because you're talking about getting to really know the history behind not only like where your ancestors came from or how their traditions or anything, but also how that ties into you as well. So you're really getting a deeper understanding of who you are as a person, who your family is, and how that all connects to you. And that's where you can figure out maybe sometimes you have a certain appreciations for certain things, like you said, why you naturally drift towards more of a Mediterranean diet because of your genetic makeup from that region. Myself, I just kind of go more towards that, like that classic like meat and potatoes kind of style kind of diet.
Yeah.
But most like my dad's side of the family, they came from Norway, and when they came over to America, they were farmers, and that's what they ate was always meat and potatoes. It's been meat and potatoes for generations, so it's understandable why I kind of just naturally go towards that. It just makes sense. But what it really comes down to is even with that sense of belonging, it's when you find it's always taking a look at and asking those questions as well as to why you want to do certain things and why you like them. And we're not asking you a question and like, think about, oh, why am I doing this? And should I be doing this? It's figuring out the reason why you want to do it and why you like doing it. And it'll give you that confidence. It'll give you that sense of happiness to really figure out where you want to be happy in life and what makes you happy in life to the point where you're going to be the happiest, most successful person that you can possibly be.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's life, dude. It's life, man. It's big. It's bigger than us.
It is, and I kind of like how, again, we kind of went from like all these different spots, but it all came around full circle, even with everything we talked about with all the different ideals, all different ideals about life, happiness, what's going on in the world today, and then with your music as well, and it all comes back to that singularity, and I absolutely love how this happened, because it's just like, there's so much going on, but it all comes back to the fact of just personal accountability, personal happiness, and understanding really that in order to make yourself the happiest, most successful person you can possibly be.
Absolutely, man. And that's why like that's why I think who we are holds a very special place for me, because it's so general, it's so broad, but it could be so direct at the same time. And that's kind of powerful, and that makes me feel good, because I'm trying to always one up myself when I'm writing and, things like that. And yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy, but it's, I don't know. I love deep conversations like this. I really do. Just getting lost in them, and it's great. That's the beauty of being social creatures that we are, sitting down and having a conversation like this. And the fact that you like you said, you love just doing this. It's something as simple as this. That's an amazing thing, man. You can do something as simple as I'm not saying creating podcasts are simple, but it's the fact that you sit down, you have an open conversation with somebody, and that enough is something that makes you happy. And that right there, I honestly bond with you on that, on top of that, music and all these other similar ideas and stuff like that. But just being able to sit down and appreciating the simplicity of just a good, healthy, open, respectable conversation. That's it, man. That's it. That's life. That's right there. It's life in a nutshell.
Oh, very much so. I absolutely love the way that you said that. And I kind of want to close with this along with who we are, because this kind of just brings again back full circle to another point where I was thinking about today when I was going through stuff like in between time from yesterday and today when we record this, and it's just like who we are. There's a certain feeling I get with this song, and I'm trying to remember exactly what song it is that really kind of drives that feel of just like, what we've gone through in life so far is what makes us who we are, and everything we've gone through is going to basically guide us to what we want to do in life, what makes us happy, and what we want to achieve. And all I had to do was I just had to take out the who and who we are, and I figured it out. And it reminds me of the song "We Are" by Hollywood Undead, and it's just something that is, ever since I listened to that song, it's been super powerful. I'm like, this matches up with that, exactly with that power of, because the whole entire chorus, we are made from broken parts. Like, yeah, we're all made from just not the best situation. We're not all perfect, but we can all. But if we all can accept that, I mean, we're all going to be happy in our own right, and that's the key.
That's it, man. I love it. I love it.
I love it as well. And because we've done about, overall, between yesterday and today, we've done about an hour and a half of this stuff. We really brought everything full circle with this entirely open, respectful, and just enjoyable conversation. I mean, I went in not knowing much about you, but now I feel like it feels like I've known you for like over a year, maybe even 2 years at this point, just through this one conversation. It's absolutely incredible.
Dude, so real quick with that, man, too. That's the other thing, too. People create these mental fucking barriers. When they meet somebody, they got to put on their Sunday's best, right? It's like, I just met you and I could do this whole, like, I'm this fucking musician and I got this going on and act like, no, dude, fuck that shit, man. I'm going to cut myself open and expose this is who I am, bro. This is like, take it or fucking leave it. And that's, again, that just comes down to really like being accepting of, your good, bad, and ugly, and just having a good open conversation. Like, I'm not going to sit here and church up who I am, and this and that, and pretend I got no fucking problems and I got no worries. Fuck that noise, man. Like, it's just what it is, dude. And that's what makes good conversation, because then you got two people vibing, and as one is opening a door of who they are, the other person starts doing that as well. And now you're learning that person. And like you said, you don't feel like you met them just yesterday or something like that. That's it. You're just like, you're learning and learning and learning about this person. And then all of a sudden you're just like, holy shit, I feel like I've known them for a minute now. So
yeah, it's absolutely incredible. Again, it's just that matching energy as well that really drives it. And then the fact that, I've always tried to do these podcasts where it's just, I never wanted to have it like you said, like that Sunday best Kevin kind of thing. No, every time I start this out, like from the get-go, I've just kind of always go through a little bit of like, okay, this is what to expect kind of thing. This is where to go with it. But after I'm like, okay, guys, and we kind of get a little bit of a conversation going before I even start recording. And it's like, okay, now you get a sense of exactly who I am and what it's going to be like. And so when we start, you're not thrown off that it's completely just who I am. That's it.
Right.
And that's the way it should be. And before we send you off to do whatever you're going to do with the rest of your evening, if it's still working in the studio and recording as well, I want to give you time to give your final words on this, anything with the band, anything you want to plug, whatever it might be. Now's your time.
So Who We Are drops Friday, October 23rd, and will be available on all platforms. Please listen to the lyrics, have a conversation with yourself, understand yourself, love yourself, be kind to yourself, be forgiving of yourself, be accepting of yourself, and then be accepting of others. And let's move forward as a society. And I can't wait to see you all at shows again. And Kevin, thank you so much for having me. I love, it was a great conversation. It was a great podcast, and, best success to you moving forward too. And I actually hope to talk to you on the next release. So it was awesome, man.
Alrighty, then now it's my turn for the final word. So for everyone, when it comes to finding Ovtlier online, following their stuff, and when it comes to finding the song Who We Are, streaming, music video, and everything, again, I'm going to make it as simple as possible for you guys. I was an econ major. I know everything about incentive. I know everything about convenience. I know all about this stuff. All you have to do is take a look at the description of the podcast, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeart Radio, or the YouTube video for this as well. It's all going to be there. And yes, like Joey said, listen to the lyrics and ask yourself what makes you happy. Ask yourself who you are, and just really have the conversation, and be open to having open conversations with whoever you might be with and want to talk to, because it's going to get so much further, and you're going to become such a happier person when you have those open conversations. And when that next release comes out, please, 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 please let me know, because we will absolutely do this again.
Oh, that'll be a whole nother story. I love it. We'll definitely do it, man.
Be a whole nother story, and I cannot wait for it. So, Joey, on this moment, I will not say goodbye, because if we've got plans to do this again, and when live shows return really to the forefront, and I see you come around wherever I'm at that point, you better believe I'm going to be in the crowd for that.
Can't wait to see you, man. That's right. Well, it's see you later, right?
Yep, it's see you later.
All right, buddy. See ya.
Whoa, folks, that was my interview with Joy from the band Ovtlier, with one of the most real, raw, emotional, incredible conversations I've ever had in this podcast. And honestly, I'm going to keep doing stuff like this, because this is the stuff where I just get absolutely, incredibly just like jacked up for. And a little fun tidbit on this, before we started recording the second day, because he was recording in the studio, I got to talk with his producer. And I'm so glad I was wearing the Ice Nine Kill shirt, because it was Justin DeBleek. And I was like, no fucking way. Like, it was awesome. So when it comes down to it, again, please, with Ovtlier, everything you need to find their music and find them online, everything is in the description of the podcast. So please go find them, and please get ready, because when their next release drops, we are bringing Joey back on the podcast, because this is one of those conversations. This is one of those guys where, like, I just want to keep talking to him more and more and have those open conversations with him. This is incredible. So please make sure that you like this. So please make sure you subscribe to all our stuff. And that's going to be it for me today, guys. Thank you for watching and listening to the Chord Progression Podcast, part of MSO TV Rocks, where rock and metal thrive. My name is Kevin, and you guys know how I end every single one of these episodes of the Big, Healthy, and Hardy. See ya!